So pretty much the point of this, right? Tafsir has many different aspects, right? There's a istilahi, meaning where when it comes to the context, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put certain words in certain places. There's many different benefits we can get from tafsir, right? And today, what I'm going to focus majority on is the spirituality. One thing is that on a daily basis, we understand that we need to take care of our physical health. So we hit the gym, we eat healthy, we do whatever we need to do to take care of that. In regards with the physical body, we make sure that we eat correctly. We go to workouts, we have a certain regimen that we follow, whatnot. And then when it comes to financially, we make sure that we're in business, we're doing whatever it may be. So we're taking care in that regard. But when it comes to living in Los Angeles, it's very difficult to take care of the spirituality. Every single day we're either being called towards something, calling towards different fitnas and distractions every single day. And so if we don't make an initiative, we don't make the effort to sit down collective as brothers and sisters in Islam and try to preserve our iman will not be preserved. So the goal of this tafsir is to, inshallah, hopefully gain some spirituality and slowly understand what the Quran is. Because the Quran is a very magnificent book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this book in such an amazing way. The reason why the Arabs used to listen to the Quran and immediately accept Islam is because they knew that these words are definitely not from a man. It's definitely from something above that. And they knew that these words are not something that anybody can make, because they, every nation, when it came to Musa alayhi salam, they used to do magic. And they made sure they used to do magic. So Musa alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the ability to do miraculous things using his stick and many other things. And Isa alayhi salam, the phenomenon of that time was it was medicine. And so Isa alayhi salam was able to cure pretty much the people that have leprosy. He would go ahead and cure them. And he was able to do many miraculous things. People that passed away, he was able to give them life. And at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the most beautiful thing and one of the most amazing phenomenons of that time was poetry. It was something that everybody, if someone wanted to, people from France, they would try to impress their wives or their girlfriends of the time by speaking poetry, of the Arabic poetry, because it was such a famous thing. Everybody wanted to know how to speak Arabic because they were so they were blown away by the language. And so at that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the glorious Quran to the Prophet ﷺ. And that's why this Quran, many people would listen to it and they knew that this is definitely not words of any man, because they used to write poetry in such an amazing manner that if you were to read it one way, it would be a compliment. And if you read it backwards, it would be they would be making fun of you, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Quran in such a beautiful, miraculous way. All right, so today, inshallah, the khutbah, not really the khutbah, the reminder in the portion of the Quran that we'll be focused on is a few ayahs from Surah Al-Hadid. So Surah Al-Hadid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, generally when he speaks, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of context. So generally when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Jannah or Jahannam, he usually relates Jahannam to those who are disbelievers, those who didn't believe in Allah. And then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would mention Jannah, he would always mention the believers. Those are the people that believe in Allah. Those are the people that will enter Jannah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala usually has it two ways. If he's speaking about Jannah, then it would be in regards with the believers and how the believers will be going to Jannah. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be speaking about Jahannam, he will speak about the disbelievers, those that don't believe in Allah, and how they will be going to Jahannam. But in this verse specifically, in these few verses in Surah Al-Hadid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks about the hypocrites. He talks about those that are going to Jahannam, that, those people that had faith, right? But they were projecting to other people that they had faith, but in reality, they didn't have faith. Or those people that thought they had faith, they thought they were believers, but in reality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not find them to be believers. Or those whose faith was so weak and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not content. He was not okay with the amount of faith that they had, that it didn't weigh anything on the scales on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Right? So this is a very interesting ayah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from being amongst them. But the reason why I picked this ayah is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, if you're from amongst these people, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will go ahead and tell you about 3 different qualities that these individuals had. And if you have even one of these qualities, right now is the time to make the effort. Right now is the time to make a change. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Al-Hadid, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يوم ترى المؤمنين والمؤمنات يسعى نورهم بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that there will be a day, on the day of judgment, when the believers will stand and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam will see the entire ummah, believing men and women, right? And then it says, يَسْعَى نُورُهُمْ بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَبِأَيْمَانِهِمْ. Their light will be coming in front of them, right in front of them and on the right side. What that means is that we have light coming from our heart and our hands. And why is that important? If your iman is strong, your faith is strong and sincere, those good actions, that great faith will become light on the day of judgment. So on the day of judgment, it does not matter how much money you have, what degree you may have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not care about that. It's all irrelevant to Allah. What Allah cares about is the good deeds that you had, the intentions that you had. So on that day, there will be light that will be protruding from your heart, right? And also protruding from your right hand from the actions that you did of good. So on the day of judgment, you'll have 2 torches, right? The day of judgment is, and inside this verse of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes Jahannam, and He describes the day of judgment and how scary and how dark it's going to be. And it's going to be this long walk to Jannah. You're going to need light to get there. Some people will have exhaustive light. Their light is so stretched out that the Prophet ﷺ described it as light will be so bright that it will be lighting up from one. Imagine if it was like, imagine if I was standing here, right? And I had such light protruding from me. It's not really light, it's, it's this little circle situation over here in front of me. But a light will be protruding from me so much so that it would be as if it was coming from one city to another city. That's how much light will be protruding. And then there will be another light in which it will be very, very weak, very, very light. And that light will be protruding in front of you, but it will be so little that you cannot even see the step in front of you. It wouldn't be exhaustive like the light that I mentioned before. That light will be very, 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 very dim. So I want everybody to imagine this. We're all standing on Yawm al-Qiyamah. It is completely pitch black dark. You cannot see a thing. And from amongst some people will have such light that it will be so bright. Imagine you had a huge torch or something that can be so exhaustive that you can see it from miles away, right? Like high beams. And then there will be some people that will have light that is so dim that they can't even see their next step. So can you guys all imagine that? Can you guys imagine a very, very dark day where nobody can see besides those people that have light, right? So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بُشْرَاكُمَ الْيَوْمِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. That glad tidings be to those, right? Those people that have light. For them will be Jannah. For them will be paradise in which beneath rivers flow. And they will live in it abundantly. They will live in it forever. And that is the greatest victory. Then in the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes a group of people who also get up on the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, they get up and they notice it is pitch black dark. They have no light at all. And they see far ahead. And they see a group of people that have light. So I want everybody to follow along with me. You wake up on day of judgment. You'll see that there's people that have a lot of light and some people that have little light. And there will be some people that will wake up that have absolutely no light at all. They wake up and they cannot see anything. It is completely pitch black dark, right? And so when they get up and they can't see anything, they start to look towards the right side and they see that there's lights flickering. There's lights that are exhausted. There's lights that are dim, but they see that they're light. So they get up and they start to hurry towards those people that have light because they have no light. And so they will go, they will run towards them, and they'll try to catch up with those people that have light, which are the believers. And they will say, يوم يقول المنافقون والمنافقات الذين آمنوا انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this ayah that the munafiqeen will say, right, to those that believed, wait for us, let's go ahead and let me take light from you. And so the word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in the Quran was iqtibas, naqtabis. It comes from the root word iqtibas, which literally means, literally means like a torch. So, back in the day when someone, has no light, they have a torch, right? So if you have a torch and you have another individual that has a torch, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put that torch and it'll light up their torch. And now both people have fire and they can both use their light easily, right? And so they said, let's go ahead and borrow some light from you. It won't take anything away from you. If we take a little bit light from you, you'll still have your light, right? So they go run over there. And when they're getting closer, there will be a voice that will be heard. There will be a loud voice that comes. Go turn back. Go try to find some light. The day of judgment is a day a mother does not care about its child. A brother does not care about his sister. A wife does not care about a husband. A mother does not care about their children. That day will be such a frightening day that Isa alayhi salam, whose mother is Maryam alayhi salam, will not care about Maryam alayhi salam. And Maryam alayhi salam will not care about Isa alayhi salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, Khalilullah, his son, Ismail, the one that he had so much love with, that he was frightened to sacrifice his son. He will not worry about his son, and his son will not worry about his father. So imagine the prophets are in this condition. Imagine you and I. Imagine how our situation is going to be. But from amongst all this, and every single individual, and this is slightly off topic, every single individual will be saying, Ya Rabbi nafsi nafsi, Ya Rabbi nafsi nafsi. Oh Allah, I care about myself. Oh Allah, I care about myself. I want protection today. Ya Allah, save me. They will not be making dua for one another. No one's going to be praying for one another. But there will be one individual where everybody is saying nafsi, nafsi, and everybody is chanting the same words. But from amongst those words, there will be one individual that will be saying something completely different. And that will be the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he will say, Ya Rabbi ummati ummati, Ya Rabbi ummati ummati. Oh Allah, I worry about my nation. I worry about my nation. He worries about you and I. He doesn't even worry about himself on that day. This is off topic, but we're going to go back. The ayah that I mentioned earlier was قِيلَ ارْجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. Go back where you came from and get light from there. So on the day of judgment, keep in mind, the only way you can get light on that day, there ain't going to be no fire. You can't go grab some wood. It's not going to be, let me go find some batteries and put it in a torch. Maybe I'll have light that way. The only light that will be beneficial on that day is the actions that you did in this world. So if you didn't do good actions on that day, we will not have any light at all. If I didn't do any good actions, or I didn't have a clean heart or a pure heart, I didn't do tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I didn't pray my 5 prayers, I didn't do what I needed to do, on that day we won't have any light. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says, and also another deeper meaning behind this, when it says قِيلَ ارْجِعُوا وَرَاءَكُمْ, go back, it's being a little bit of being sarcasm. It's a little bit of sarcasm. It's a little bit sarcastic. Like, go back, not really where you came from, but go back to the dunya and get what you had. Get the light then, but now it's too late. And so now they'll try to catch up, despite being told to go back by the angels. Despite being told that, they said, you know what? I don't really care what anybody's saying right now. I'm so worried about myself that I'm not going to listen to any angel, and I'm going to keep on running towards the light. And so they're going to keep on running towards the light, right? Despite being told to go back. فضرب بينهم بسور له باب باطنه فيه رحمة وظاهره من قبله العذاب. Then a massive wall would drop between them. A massive wall would drop between them, and it has a door. And Allah says, one side of this door, right? One side of this wall is the mercy of Allah on the right side. And on the other side of it is punishment, in adhab, in fearfulness. So now that they're stuck behind this wall, they look behind them and they see that adhab is coming, punishment is coming. And so they get frantic and they start to bang on the door, start banging on the wall. And they say, please open the door, please open the door. And they're very, very desperate. And who are these? These are the hypocrites. And they're saying to the believers, please open the door. Whatever you can do, please just make a gap for us. Let us come through this door. So as soon as this wall dropped, the people that were believers, those that believed in Allah, that did good actions, they become calm, they become relaxed, because now they know that they're not going to be punished. And in front of them is Jannah, and they have to just take some steps and they'll be there, inshallah. And so they start to become relaxed. And as soon as they get relaxed, on the other side of the wall, on the left side, those that are hypocrites, those that are disbelievers, they start to get worried, they start to get panicky, they start to get they're full of fear. And they're very, very desperate. And so out of their desperate, and in their desperate need, they call out, يُنَادُونَهُمْ أَلَمْ نَكُمْ مَعَكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى وَلَكِنَّكُمْ. They said, didn't we used to be with you? So they're asking the people from the other side, open up, we used to be with you guys. Because they consider themselves believers on that day. But in reality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thought they were truly not believers. Rather, they were munafiqeen, hypocrites. So I'm going to stop right here. This is the ayah I chose today's topic. The reason why I picked these ayahs of tafsir is literally for this one exact ayah. The ayahs that I said before were very important, but this is the cream of the crop. This is what I really want everybody to understand and listen to carefully. Alam nakum ma'akum? Weren't we with you? This is what they're saying. The munafiqeen, they're saying that weren't we with you guys? Why are we not with you on the other side? Weren't we with you? The idea is that these people who are standing on the wrong side of the wall in a horrible, desperate situation, they have no light of their own. And they actually assume that they belong among the believing community. They were very confident about that. So much so that they're citing it on the day of judgment. We used to pray aside you. We used to be friends. We used to be we used to go to the same college. We used to go to the same university. We were part of the same group chats. We used to do programs together. We used to hang out with one another, right? But why are we separate today? We used to be together. What's going on? Why are we separate today? Why has there been separation done today? So now, like I said earlier, on the other side of the wall, on the right side of the wall, they feel calm. They feel relaxed. They're not terrified because they know that they're going to Jannah now. And so now they don't feel like they're in a rush anymore because they know that they're totally safe. They have nothing to worry about because now only in a few steps, inshallah, they will be in Jannah for those. They'll be in Jannah, a place where the Prophet ﷺ describes Jannah, al-Jannatu hiya ma la aynun ra'at wa la udhunun samiyat wa la khatara ala qalbi bashar. That Jannah is a place no man has seen its beauty, never heard of its beauty. And wherever your imagination comes to an end is where Jannah begins. Whatever beautiful ideas we can possibly think. I don't know if anybody watched Avatar. Anybody watch Avatar?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Right? And when you look at Avatar, honestly, this is what I was thinking. I'm thinking, wow, man, that's like, honestly, it gets you into a whole different world. And the reason why I like Avatar, the whole theme of the movie, whatever, it's cool. But what I really like about it, it makes you feel like you're not in this world anymore. It makes you feel like you're in a whole different universe. And you see that they have water and like the way the trees are and everything is just so magnificent and so beautiful. But keep in mind, someone imagined that. Someone made that into a movie. They pictured it and now it's became a movie. So that's something imaginable. So imagine wherever your imagination comes to an end, that is where Jannah begins. Just imagine that. You can't. I keep on saying that, but you can't, right? You know, subhanAllah, actually, when I get off topic, then I go too far. So inshallah, I'll just continue on with the tafsir. And by the way, I want to let you guys know, I like to be very interactive. This is, I don't really do Zooms generally. So it's a little bit different for me. But generally, I like to ask questions, make sure everybody's, because the point of this is not to just to listen, right? The point is to take it to heart. Every single one of us, our brothers and sisters in Islam, and we all want to be in Jannah together. And honestly speaking, like, that's why I love that you guys have this group chat. You guys are talking to one another. You guys are making programs. Because me personally, most of my life, I've lived in overseas and whatnot. So, but coming back to LA, I understand that there's a sense of, me personally, I don't know a lot of people. A lot of people kind of know me, but I don't really spend time with too many people. And that's good that you have group chats where you can have Muslim people to meet one another and whatnot. But the point is, we have these group chats so we get closer to Allah. And so if we go ahead, and the goal should always be Jannah. The goal should always be to uplift one another. Because honestly, wallahi, life is so simple. Many people make life sound so difficult, right? When we have Allah, we have everything. And if we don't have Allah, wallahi, we have nothing. You'll see all the people that have all the money in the world, but still are on antidepressants. They're depressed. They're going through all these different situations, and they have no sense of relief. With us, if we go through a difficult situation, right now the sister mentioned that her son passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him Jannat al-Firdaus al-A'la. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his sins and elevate his status in Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make his grave a garden from the gardens of paradise. But her losing her son, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, at the end of the day, we know that this life is all temporary. We know that life is a test. We know that if we go through a difficult situation, Allah is testing us, and that we'll be rewarded in the hereafter and also in this world. Everything that we do has meaning behind it. Nothing is done meaninglessly. But you look at these people that don't have Islam, all they have is this world and nothing else. And if you think like that, really, it's a very, very sad life. Well, our life is very simple, I always tell people, all it is, you pray your 5 prayers. This is not a huge obligation. It's not difficult. 20 minutes of your day for the one that gave you 24 hours of the 24 hours, the one that gave you your life, that gave you the ability to breathe and to sleep. Everything is a blessing from Allah if we really, really think about it. I met with this little girl in San Francisco not too long ago. And, some of us, we don't realize that every single thing right now, us just looking at one another, right? Us just being able to take a breath right now. You ask a person that has billions of dollars, you ask him, he starts to lose his breath. He can't breathe right now. He will not worry about anything in the world. The only thing that he will worry about is, how can I get this next breath? But we take it for granted all the time. So this little girl that I met, she had no exit point. She was in the hospital. She would have the feeling, the urgency to use the bathroom, but she had no exit point, that she would always have to go to the hospital and get it sucked out or whatever it may be. And so she would always have this discomfort that she had. I imagine some of us, if we had to use the bathroom, even a few seconds, even a few minutes holding it, it's very tough. So imagine you're living with that feeling constantly. So even something that we might find disgusting is really a blessing. For us to sleep, many of us, many people don't, we think this is very common. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm telling you, I've met so many people that can't sleep at night. Days go by, they can't have a proper sleep. They wake up every few hours, or they can't even get a proper 1 hour without waking up every hour. People have all these different issues, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us so much, you know what I mean? But we always have to be in the mindset of gratefulness. That weren't we with you on this day of judgment, where everybody is extremely terrified on the left side and everybody is really calm and collected on the right side, right? They're saying that, why aren't we with you? We used to pray with you guys. We used to be from amongst you guys, but yet right now on day of judgment, where it really matters, we're not with you. What's going on? So now they reply, and they give a reason why you are not with us today. So the people that are believers, they go ahead and reply to the disbelievers, and as well as the munafiqeen. The munafiqeen that thought they were Muslim, they thought they were believers, they thought their iman was good enough. While the Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah didn't think that their iman was good enough. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so the people reply. The first thing the people of Jannah had said to them, right? They said, "Irji'u wara'akum faltamisu nura." Go return and go get some light. And they were very shocked. And they said, "We were with you. We should have had some light with as you do." So now these people who used to have light within the day, within their life, they felt like they were praying. They felt like they were doing some things. They used to have faith. How did they lose it? How did they end up becoming bankrupt on the day of judgment? This is particularly important and interesting because it gives you an insight of how someone loses their iman. You don't lose your faith within a day. You lose it as a process. And this process is described in these timeless words in the Quran. And this is where I really want everybody to pay attention. This is the whole point. These people came on Yawm al-Qiyamah. They thought they had iman. They thought that they had belief. I believed in Allah. I think I'm a good Muslim. But on the day of judgment, it didn't seem like they did because they were on the wrong side of the wall. They were on the side of the wall where they're all going to Jahannam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that the believers will say, قَالُوا بَلَى وَلَكِنَّكُمْ فَتَنْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ. They will reply, yes, you were with us. Of course, you used to be with us. However, you put yourself in fitna. You put yourself in trial. In fatana, it actually means to put something to trial. They use this word when they test the purity of gold. You melt it, the impurity comes out, the gold goes through a burning, tough test. It's not an easy test. So the idea of fatantum anfusakum, there are many lessons associated with it, but the purpose of this tafsir, I'll highlight one of them. Your faith got tested, and I want everybody to try to understand. Try to understand what that means. You kept putting yourself in bad environments where it kept testing your faith. But you told yourself, you can handle it. No problem, I got this. I got strong faith. I got strong iman. I got this. I'm a big guy. I'm a tough guy. I got this. You kept surrounding yourself with friends who did and talked and saw bad things. You kept putting yourself in gatherings like that, saying, I'm just here to help them. I'm not like them. If anything, I'll be a good effect on them. But in reality, you didn't affect them. They affected you. So the first step wasn't that these people became disbelievers. It was actually bad company. They put themselves in questionable company, in questionable circumstances. So I want to, tell you guys a few things, right? Right now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will mention 4 qualities. And these 4 qualities will be the reason why someone will not be on the right side of the wall on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Number 1, I want everybody to remember this. What did they do? What is the first issue and what is the first problem that they did that made their faith shaky? Can anybody tell me?
By not praying.
Anybody else?
Lying, maybe.
The first thing was they put fatana. They put themselves in fitna. They put themselves in bad company. They put themselves around people that they shouldn't be around. That was the first issue that they did. It wasn't that they stopped praying. It wasn't any of these things. The first thing, mashallah, good answers. But the first thing that they did is they put themselves in fitna. They put themselves in questionable company. They put themselves in a gathering where they shouldn't have been with, right? And so I'll give you a silly example. If you do a lot of cooking, anybody here Pakistani or Indian?
Desi, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anybody here that's Arab or Hispanic or from a different nationality?
Yeah. I'm Bengali and my wife's Syrian.
Okay. All right. So let's say you go to a Pakistani household, right? And you walk in there. For us, it's normal, SubhanAllah, we smell that butter chicken and it's normal, right? But let's say an Arab brother or sister came inside the house and the first time they come in a Desi house, they'll start to smell those spices, right? They'll start to smell that curry pakore, the butter chicken, and they'll be like, "Oh man, what is that? That's too strong."
Bro, Sheikh, is it haram to come pray in the mosque with those spices on your clothes? You know what I mean?
It's not haram. It's liked. It's definitely it's just like because you don't want to make the worst thing is, man, like when you pray next to someone and they be smelling so bad, you can't even focus on your prayer anymore, right?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
That,
like I usually move, like, but I'm not trying to be rude. Like, if that happens, I like, like go to another row or something. But should I like let
honestly,
them know or?
bro, these things don't matter, man. Because I'm telling you, you guys, anybody know what Baccarat Rouge is?
Yeah, my what?
Rouge or X Broth. You get some of those solid colognes. You put those on, man. It doesn't matter who walks by. Inshallah, you smell good.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no worries. By the way, if you need cologne advice, let me know, man. I'll be on the cologne game, mashallah.
Drop the link, Sheikh.
Yeah, no worries. Actually, my brother-in-law, I used to go to like Nevis Marcus, and I used to drop a bag on these colognes. And then my brother-in-law, he's actually the president of CARE in Florida, and he sent me this website where pretty much they're like 70% off. Original, they're not like fake or whatever, and they're like 70%.
No, don't gatekeep, Sheikh. Let me get that link after.
Yeah, I'll send it.
So
How does that work? Like, don't they have to make a profit somehow? Like, how can they keep it 70%?
Well, they're making a profit because they're charging you like 400% the cost of production.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying they're charging you arm and leg. It's not that expensive. That's why I used to wear like Balenciaga and all these things, right? But in reality, now I don't, because definitely that the whole, you guys heard about the whole thing. I'm for sure everybody heard about it.
Yeah, Balenciaga, right?
Yeah, all their stuff. But whatever. The point is, what was I trying to tell them? I don't know what I said.
oh, the fitna with the people.
Keep there, but it's good quality. It's Baccarat Rouge, all the things that you can possibly think of. Because the thing with me, like, I like to be a little bit unique. I like to have smells that people haven't smelled before. So if I tell all you guys, everybody's gonna be smelling good, but alhamdulillah, man, I don't mind sharing. You want what's best for yourself, for others. You know what I mean? So inshallah, yeah. The point what I was trying to make, though, that smell anymore, right? You already know, like the same example of smoking. You spend enough time around smokers. Smoke will initially you just start to cough, you start to feel upset, you start to get headaches. But then you spend enough time with these smokers, you start to smoke or the smoke stops to bother you, but definitely has effect on you. Definitely starts to make you smell a certain type of way, right? So that first issue was that you put yourself in bad company. وَتَرَبَّصْتُمْ, that you started procrastinating, right? You kept procrastinating. Now, what does that mean? That means you realize that I'm in bad company. I know I shouldn't be around these people, right? And you realize in your own consciousness, you realize that it was bad, but you procrastinated to change. But you told yourself, I will change very soon, inshallah. I'll change, no problem. But just give me a week, give me a month, give me some time, right? This is the biggest deception of shaitan. He makes you assume that you'll change over time, but in reality, that's not the reality, right? And so you make this assumption that you can flip the switch, you can just change or stop this bad habit that you've been having, right? But the reality is, or we start to say that, maybe next semester, or I'll start to do this, or maybe after a few months, when certain things change up, I'll start to hang out with different friends. But that procrastination is a trick of shaitan, right? And that bad habit of staying with bad company and then procrastinating the change that you need to do. I need to pray. I need to give sadaqah. I need to do these things, but you keep on prolonging it. And this is everything in life, man. Many people want to lose weight. You see many people like this. They say that they're on a diet all year long, but then by the end of the year, they're 10 pounds over because they're doing these fake diets. They're half in, half out, right? You got to commit. You got to be serious. If you want to change in your life, you got to commit, right? And this is everything in life. You want to be successful in a financial manner. You want to be fit or healthy or have a six-pack, you got to commit. And same thing with deen. If you want to be very religious, you want to go ahead and be on top of your deen, you have to commit. You can't just be half in, half out, right? And so because of this, right, you go ahead, you put yourself in bad company, you start to procrastinate. This puts you in the third predicament. A guilt sets on you. You start to lose hope. You start to think, I can't get out of this environment. I should have done tawbah a long time ago. It's too late for me. So then shaitan comes in and he begins to whisper to you, right? وَارْتَبْتُمْ. You then fell into doubt. And when you get to this point, then two things are taken away from you. The desire to go to Jannah is taken away. The desire to make Allah happy is taken away. And secondly, the fear of hell is gone. Then the only thing you have to look forward to, right, in this entire world, right, is now this. The only thing that you can look forward to is now the world, because now you're not worried about the hereafter. You think you went too far. You think you did too much sin that now Allah is not going to forgive me, which is the furthest thing from the truth, right? There's the furthest thing from the truth. And so Shaitan will start to whisper to you, oh man, you haven't prayed in so long. You haven't done this in so long. Man, you're such a bad person. You think Allah wants to forgive you? You know, this is all a trick of Shaitan. And then the last thing happens, right? Actually, I want someone to tell me. I want to see if you guys are listening or I'm just talking. All right, so what's the first thing? What's the first situation that we did?
Fitna, surrounding yourself in bad company.
And someone else, tell me what the second thing is.
Procrastination.
Procrastination, all right? And what's the third thing? Someone else. Anybody?
Doubt, having doubt.
Having doubt, right? So you put yourself in bad company, and because of that, you started to procrastinate the change that you needed to do, that you knew you needed to do. And because you went too far in that route, you started to put doubt in yourself. You started to doubt yourself, right? And then the last point, وَغَرَّتْكُمْ الْأَمَانِي حَتَّى جَاءَ أَمْرُ اللَّهِ وَغَرَّكُمْ بِاللَّهِ الْغُرُورُ. That false hopes deceived you, made you think it'll make you happy. Everyone has light in them. But now it's time for all of us to reflect. Look at our own lives and tell ourselves, which of these four conditions, which one of these four phases am I actually in? So the last one is what? That you deceived yourself, and you started to think that now the dunya is the only thing that will make me happy. I need to become ultra successful. I need to get a Lamborghini. I need to get a Ferrari. I need to get a Rolls Royce, right? And I need to get all these cars. I need to get a nice house and a beautiful lady by my side, or a beautiful husband by my side. And now I'm gonna be very, very happy. You start to make the world your only concern, and you start to forget about the hereafter. And you start to have doubt in Allah. You know, oh my gosh, Shaitan starts to come to you. He says, hey man, you're feeling bad about Islam. You know, the reason why you feel guilty, it's because of Islam. Why don't you just leave this Islam thing? Then you won't feel guilty. So he'll try to trick you out of your faith. Or he'll start to come to you and say all these different things. So I want everybody to ask themselves, which part of this are we in? Am I in right now, right? Am I from the second group, or the second quality that, you know, I started to procrastinate? I'm procrastinating to change myself, to become a better Muslim, right? And a lot of times, man, this is the biggest thing. We think that we're young. We think that when I become an old chacha, you know, then I'm going to become religious. You know, oh man, deen is going to come in my heart, and I'm going to become a big sheikh when I'm 35, 40 years old. When I have kids, I'll become religious. If we're thinking this, we're foolish. As we know, habits start to come into us, and it's very hard to change after you started to live a life in a certain way for so many years. And so Shaitan will tell you to procrastinate. And the third thing is what, right? You start to have doubt that, oh, subhanAllah, I'm in this religion. I don't think Allah is going to forgive me, so I shouldn't even believe in Allah anymore. Maybe that would be better. And then the last thing is that you start to make this world your only objective. You don't care about Jannah. You don't care about Jahannam. And all you care about is this. One thing I'll say is that nobody from here is in the fourth category. I guarantee that. The reason being is because you guys took the initiative to sit in this class. That means you have a level of faith in your heart. You have a level of love of Allah in your heart that or Allah. Keep in mind, we can't study Islam. We can't come to the masjid except if Allah chose us, right? So every single one of you, Allah loves you. Allah cares for you 70 times more than your mother. He loves you so much. He says, you know what? Inshallah, he takes this class. He takes this class. He gets closer to me, right? So I want everybody to self-reflect for a second now. Think, which one am I from? Am I in doubt? Am I in bad company? Am I procrastinating? And la samahallah, that we don't even care about Jannah or Jahannam, and our only goal is this world, and we don't care about anything else. We have to ask ourselves sincerely, which one am I from? Which one am I? Right? And now, and the beautiful thing of this, right, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran So we can prepare now so we don't be like that on the Yom Qiyamah. Right? He's telling us the blueprint. Okay, this is what if you are in this category, if you have these things, you're on the wrong side. So if you fix those 4 things, you'll be on the right side. So Allah is telling us what we need to do. So every single one of us, I want us, honestly speaking, I'm telling you, all I care about is growth. I want every single week that we get closer to Allah. I want everybody to be honest and true with us. We make a group where we don't judge one another, right? I want to make a chat. Inshallah, we're going to go ahead and wake up for Fajr. I want to see everybody wake up for Fajr. We're going to pray. And we're going to go ahead and do different things. And I want to see everybody succeed in that. And if anybody that doesn't succeed at the end of the week, let's say, someone that wasn't able to wake up for Fajr every single day of the week till Monday, all right, then you have to give some type of sadaqah. You have to do 100 push-ups because we should become, stronger believers in faith and body. There's going to be some type of punishment. And I want, honestly speaking, like, I really want us to grow. I don't want anybody to become a big sheikh, alam, or whatever. What I want is realistic goals, realistic expectations, and I want us to beat them, right? And inshallah, we'll work together. We'll become very successful when it comes to deen, become very successful financially, very successful in fitness and health. I want us to become strong brothers and sisters in faith. And that's the goal. Everybody to realize that on the day of judgment, there'll be 2 sides. Those that are going to Jannah and those that are going to Jahannam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us the 4 bad qualities that we should not have. So if we have one of these qualities, let us get it out of our life. Let us work towards the right goals. All right. And then on this day of judgment, inshallah, we'll be from amongst those people that have light in their hearts and light from our right hands coming and protruding, inshallah. So we'll end there. Barakallahu feekum, jazakallahu khair wa ahsan al-jazaa for all your time and for your efforts of staying in the whole. I was surprised it didn't cut off. I thought it was going to cut off after 40 minutes, but I guess it didn't.
This is a premium account, so we can go as long as we want.
Allahu Akbar. That's nice. It's crazy. I took a class over 1 year online, but no one was willing to do premium for whatever reason. But yeah. All right. So, anybody have any questions?
I have one. So, like, are these like signs of like munafiq? Like, I think like one thing I struggle with is like, or like I'm sure a lot of people struggle with is like, oh, like, if I pray in Jummah, like, and maybe like that, like Ahmed was saying, and like, oh, I don't pray at home sometimes. Is that like me pretending to be pious? Like, I know some of us have the best intentions, but like, could we be considered munafiq if like we do that consistently and procrastinate or something like that?
So the goal of this, right, wasn't to make to put any names on ourselves, right? Even if some of us have this quality, I don't want us to call ourselves munafiq, right? Because in our minds and our hearts, we know that we're believers, right? But this is just to make us understand that where do we actually stand, right? So from amongst these 4 qualities, you can self-reflect and understand where you stand. When it comes to prayer, right? Sometimes this is laziness, right? There's du'as the Prophet ﷺ told us, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-'ajzi wa kasal. Ya Allah, I seek refuge from you from being lazy, right? And also some of us don't understand the value of prayer, right? Which I don't blame either, man. I'm telling you, I really don't blame anybody that doesn't have a good, doesn't feel like they're the most religious person. It's because we live in such a horrible society where degeneracy is so easy, and every time you do anything good, it's like demonized. You know what I mean? So I understand it's a very difficult thing, right? But glad tidings be to those people that are different. The Islam started strange, and it will go back to being strange. So glad tidings be to those that are strange. We're not trying to fit in, right? We don't want to be amongst the crowd. We want to be standing out. We want to be leaders, right? And to go into your question, right? If you miss your prayers, right? I don't know why I'm saying right so much, but if your prayers or anything like that, that is a sign that you need to do better. That means that Allah is not accepting you to pray, right? Allah only accepts those who those praise that have good intentions. Thing is, having good intentions is not good enough, right? It's about doing action. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you look at everything in our deen, right? It comes to Umrah, it comes to Hajj, it comes to all these things, right? First thing is niyyah. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ, that every amal, every action needs to have good intention. But it's not about just having good intention but no action, right? So we need to take an action. But it's okay to start small. If you have a habit of not praying at all, you only pray Jum'ah, then incorporate at least one prayer. Look at your schedule. Say, look at your schedule and realize what prayer can I 100% commit to every single day for that 1 week, right? And then the next week we're going to add another prayer and another prayer within 1 month. Because the thing is, the goal is not to be consistent for a week. The goal is not to be consistent for a day. It's to be consistent for the rest of our lives. And so we have to be realistic. We have to understand. There's, I think Sheikh mentioned the fact that we are all here means we're trying to not be munafiq. We don't fall into that fourth quality, alhamdulillah. And then Ahmed says, once Prophet came, who is she? I replied, she is so-and-so. Tell him about her excessive praying. He said, and that which within your capacity without being overtaxed. Allah does not get tired of once and sure you get tired. Yeah, the thing is, we have to understand that deen is not, it's a way of life. We think that Islam is one thing and our secular life is secondary, right? It's two separate things. In reality, Islam is, if you go to work and you have a good intention that I'm doing this to raise my family, to take care of my kids, this is sadaqah. The best sadaqah is the sadaqah given to your family. We need to change our intention in everything that we do. I sleep on my right side because the Prophet slept on my right side. You look at scientists today, they say if you sleep on your left side, it puts pressure on your heart. Everything that the Prophet did, everything that Islam teaches that is only for our own benefit. So we just need to understand that Islam is not separate from our life. It needs to be incorporated in our life, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry to interrupt. My wife had a question.
Yeah.
So how do you be consistent? When like women have their menses and it interrupts their prayer, they obviously can't pray for.
Can't pray. And 100%, I've had this question before where, when on menses, they feel like they become far away from Allah, right? They feel like, the thing is, just because you can't pray, you should have respect for the prayer time, right? So to keep that habit going is that even despite you not having to pray, then I would recommend that when you're on your menses, grab a book of Islam or sit down and do tasbih, right? You cannot read Quran completely. Like, let's say you were reading completely, you can't do that. But if you break it apart, you're allowed to do that, right? When you're on your menses, you're allowed to do tasbih, right? Right. So you can do different things when you're on your menses. Doesn't mean that you become, when I'm on my period, I don't become, I'm pretty much not Muslim then. You know what I mean? That's not the thing. So make time for your prayers. So wake up for Fajr. She should wake up for Fajr, even though she doesn't have to, right? Wake up for Fajr and read a book, right? Whatever it may be. Make time, make sure that you respect the time of prayer. So when you're out of your prayer, out of your menses or your period, you still go back to having those habits, because 1 week is enough to throw off the whole month. It really is. It's 3 days to 10 days, whatever it may be, her hair or whatever it may be. You have to make sure you make time to allocate for those specific prayers and whatnot, inshallah.
Oh, Jazakallah. So does that mean you can read hadith instead of Quran, or Islamic books?
You specifically, I'll put in the chat.
Okay.
Everything that she can do when she's on her menses, inshallah. And all the other sisters that are also participating, inshallah, it will be beneficial for all of them to practice this as well, inshallah.
Jazakallah. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have a question?
Yes, Jazakallah. Thank you for this very beneficial talk. It was really great, and for your time. I just had a question. I know that this lecture is mainly on Quranic tafsir and covering Surah Hadid, and I know we covered believers versus disbelievers.
Yeah.
But the meaning of Surah Hadid, iron, an element. Is that right?
Yeah.
How would that like what we discussed today, how would that relate to some of the other aspects of the surah that we can kind of learn from, just related to, I know there's some verses on iron and how it's used to create chips and whatnot, and I don't know the exact ayahs on that, but I just kind of wanted to get an overview on that. Jazakallah.
No, 100%. So what I'm going to do is actually I was going to focus on those specific ayahs so we all have an understanding. So next week we're actually going to be speaking about that. Why Surah Al-Hadid is called Surah Al-Hadid? We're going to go starting from the beginning verses, inshallah, and then we'll go in more depth. The reason why I chose these ayahs, even though it wasn't in order, right, is so we can understand. Because the thing is, for me, all I want to do is these ayahs make us understand where we stand with Allah. It makes us understand where we're going to be on the Day of Judgment. And this is relevant to every single one of us, including myself, right? And that's why I started with these verses. So we get understanding, and then after that, we'll go ahead and start with other things in tafsir, inshallah. So definitely your question, inshallah, next Monday will be answered in depth. as well as the first few ayahs in Surah Al-Hadid. The reason why, like once again, I picked those so we can all reflect, and then we can go ahead and take action from this week till next week to get rid of what of those 4 qualities may be in us. You get me? So that's why I picked these four ayahs, inshallah. We all have the slogan, I love Allah, I love the Prophet Muhammad, I'll die for them. It's very easy for us to say that, but do we really? You get me? And so the point is, we really got to catch ourselves and be very, be an inspector, be a person that visualize. Don't look at other people and don't judge other people, but judge yourself very hard. Umar radiallahu ta'ala says, "Hasib nafsaka qabla ma tuhasib." No, hasib qabla ma yuhasib. Around those wordings, right? That be accounting of yourself before you're taking an account of, right, by Allah. And so that's my point. Like, if my love for the world was more, then I sign the contract, I worry about that, and I miss my salah, and I make it up. But if I love Allah more, then I'm going to prioritize my prayer. And that's why we love Habib. Habib is so amazing because it doesn't matter. A woman tries to shake his hand, and he goes like this. He doesn't compromise his faith in any way when it's very easy for him to compromise, especially at that level. People, when they're in good times, when they're in good times, they remember, they don't remember Allah. When they're in bad times, that's the only time Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Imagine we had a friend, that was only there when you had good times. And every time a bad time came around, he was never to be seen. He was never there to be asked. Like, come on, why would we want to be with them? You know what I mean? So or a friend that would completely always ask, for things, but he would always ask for things when he was in need. But when he was in a good time, he completely forgot about you. So we have to understand that. Why do we have that type of relationship with Allah? That only when we need Allah, when we're going through a tough time, then we ask for Allah, but in the good times we don't. You know what I mean? And life is very easy. It's a balance between patience and as well as being grateful. We're in a good situation. Allah has given us, alhamdulillah. And if Allah has taken away something from us, then do sabr, do patience. The only ma'iyah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am with those individuals. Allah did not say that He's with anybody else. He didn't put His ma'iyah with anything except those that are patient. So the sister that has her son passed away, you being patient, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. And if you have Allah with you, you have nothing to worry about. All right. And the best thing that we can do for anybody that passed away is read Surah Al-Yasin. Read Qul Huwallahu Ahad 3 times and said that to them. Read Surah Mulk and Surah Waqi'ah. That will be a protection for them in the grave, right? And do these things. Inshallah, they'll guard it. Their graves will be a garden from the gardens of paradise, inshallah. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, he's a cool guy, mashallah, dope guy. Javier, super funny, chill guy. He's actually the one that got me in contact with him. I showed him the bag. He really liked it. So we were planning to do a partnership, 50-50, and he does the marketing. But he said, man, like, honestly, he really liked me as a person. So he says, I'll do it for free. I was like, hey, man, if you want, all right, I'm cool with that. But I said, no, I want you to have 50% of the company. But he says, you know what? I'm really busy right now. And because of that, I won't be able to give you enough time. And for that reason, I don't mind, advertising on my social media and telling the UFC about it. But to be a partner with you, I just feel like I won't be providing enough value to be a part of that. Even over here, I have it's like, how do you flip this camera? I have a thing where it's like Habib with the glove signed or whatever. It doesn't show his eyes. Don't worry. So the malaika can come to the house, inshallah. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. What about everybody else? You guys, what's the difficult thing that you guys are all going through? As I think one thing that I think most people are facing a difficulty with is praying, right? And I think next time, I think we're not going to do the Tafseer next time. What I actually would like to do is talk about the importance of prayer, right? I think every single week we should go ahead. We'll do the Tafseer about prayer. And the thing is, we'll do many, many ayahs and speak about that. What I want to do is talk about different qualities. And the goal of Islam is to adopt these qualities into our hearts, right? And make sure that, we practice upon these things. So if we have an issue with, there's not many things that we have to do as a Muslim, really. It isn't difficult, So whatever we are having a difficulty with, we'll focus on it. Let's say Brother Maheen, he is having a difficulty with whatever. We'll go ahead and focus on that week. And then inshallah, as a collective jama'ah, we'll all get better. And then Abdul Salam, If he's having an issue with something, we all work on it together. The goal is to become brothers and sisters and be better, man. Like really, like that's all I want, you know.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Sheikh, I had a question about Salat al-Fajr.
Okay, go ahead.
So recently, like you going over the 4 steps, I actually just got myself out of the procrastination phase.
Okay,
And
alhamdulillah.
I'm keeping up doing all 5 prayers, alhamdulillah. With Fajr, I know that we're supposed to do it before the sunrise, right? Now,
Yeah.
let's say we up the night before late and
Yeah.
throw our alarm or wake up after sunrise. Are we still allowed to pray Fajr, or should we? How does that work?
So if you miss Fajr, you can always make it up, right? What you're gonna do though, if the sun just came up, you're not allowed to pray when the sun comes up, because there's people that worship the sun, and so when the sun comes up, we don't follow any nation or any religion or culture that does certain things, right? So for that reason, when like let's say Ishraq time comes, right? So let's say the sun is coming up. So let's say 7. Let's just say, actually, let's see what time sunrise is right now. Let's just do that.
SubhanAllah, my mom just told me the same thing. She told me I can't pray while the sun's coming up, but she didn't know why exactly. So the fact
Yeah,
that
it's money of the nation, right? And there's people that worship the sun, and so that's the reason why we don't do that. So 6:52 is when sunrise is, right? So I would say about 7:45 you can go ahead and pray Fajr, inshallah. You know, to be on the safe side, and then you go ahead and pray your Fajr. Let me go ahead. Okay, everybody, this is our homework for this week. Okay, our homework is to wake up for Fajr every single day of this week. All right, inshallah. I want everybody in the chat to say I'm up. Okay, this is how we're going to be accountable. And whoever doesn't say I'm up, I don't care if you pray Fajr. That's between you and Allah. Not like that. I do, of course, I care. But the point is, like, if you prayed but you didn't put it in the chat, then you're in trouble. All right, you got to do 50 push-ups for the men. For the women, she got to go for a 1-mile run. I don't know what she has to do, but inshallah, we're going to figure out something where we're going to go against our nafs, because we have desires. And the more we constrain our desires, the more we work on the nafs, the stronger that we become. I always tell men this, like if we ran after our desires, many men have came up to me and told me I have a hard time staying away from women. And I said that, I told them this, and some women also face the same situation, that they have this desire for fornication or whatever it may be. And I always tell them this: how weak of an individual are we that every time we have this desire that we go ahead and do it? We're just running after our desire, like a dog running after a bone. And that makes us very, very weak. That I don't know why I brought that up, but that's just a separate point. But the point is, let's all wake up for Fajr. And these are the 3 steps that we're going to do to wake up for Fajr. Number 1, go asleep on time. It doesn't matter what you have to do in life. Alhamdulillah, I don't like to talk about myself a lot, but I have businesses. I do a lot of things. I've studied where I had exams the first thing in the morning. It doesn't matter what you have to do. You never have to stay up late. Really. If you have to, you'd rather wake up early than you have to go sleep late. Because sleeping late is just going to make you tired in the morning. There's no reason to ever really sleep late. And we're not little kids now that it's so cool, I'm staying up late. We're not little kids, right? Hopefully, inshallah. Right. So we understand that, we got to wake up early. So when you wake up early, and this is the beautiful thing about Islam, waking up early starts your day off on such a good, any person that's successful, right? What do? They start their day off early. Second thing, Islam with prayer, it keeps us disciplined that we have to be on time with our prayers. There are many benefits with prayer, not just the spirituality aspect, but there's a mental, there's emotional, there's a physical, there is a mental benefit that you get from praying on time. So everybody, inshallah, I want everybody to set their alarms, right? If you guys can, I would recommend at least 2 times pray Fajr in the masjid this week. At least 2 times. Whatever day it is, put 2 times. So everybody has to pray 2 times in the masjid, right? And the reason why I say that is because if you can get up and you can drive to the masjid and pray Fajr, then definitely it's going to become easier and easier. But everybody, inshallah, is going to wait for Fajr. Let's say 6:52 is sunrise. I don't want anybody setting their alarms for 6:35, waking up really quickly, doing wudu, and then praying. No, I want you to wake up properly. I want you to pray these 2 raka'at of sunnah and fard as if these were your last prayers. This is the time where everybody is sleeping. This is the time that you can really connect with Allah. You stand there, you're alone. Nobody is watching. It's only a conversation between you and Allah, right? And you go ahead and have this conversation. Wallahi, I'm telling you, you'll feel amazing. All right. I want everybody to go ahead and tell me how they feel, inshallah, as well. We'll make a little bit of poll. So everybody, number one, we're going to go ahead and set our alarm. That's number one. Number two, we're going to set our alarm for 6 a.m. Okay. 6 a.m., 6:05, 6:10, 6:15. I need like 5 alarms to get up, to be honest. Right. And now recently, because I've been traveling a lot, and subhanAllah, I don't know, I got a little lazy. But back in the day, man, subhanAllah, I'll be up 5 a.m. all the time. But for now, I'm slacking too. All right. So inshallah, put like 5, 6 alarms and wake up. But you want to, and when you wake up, right? So number one, go to sleep on time. Number two, set your alarm. Set it for 6 a.m. If it's a masjid, I think a masjid is usually 6 or 6:15, right? So if you're going to the masjid, then I want you to wake up 5:30 or 5:45, 5:30 or 5:40, depending how far the masjid is from you. All right. We're gonna do wudu, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to pray our 2 sunnah and 2 fard with concentration. When you're getting out of bed, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to be tired. You want to go back to sleep. Then you have to remember it. This blessing of Allah, Allah has not given everybody the ability to sleep, right? Many people suffer with sleep, have insomnia, haven't slept in days. So we have to ask Allah, and we have to remember that, Ya Allah, you're the one that gave me this blessing of sleep. How can I use this blessing against you? This blessing that many people don't have, how can I use this blessing and transgress against you? I cannot do that, right? So we're going to go ahead and remember that, reflect off of that. Number two, the last thing, make dua to Allah. Ya Allah, I have a difficult time waking up for prayer, but you know in my heart that I really want to wake up, and truly in the bottom of your heart, ask Allah, Ya Allah, I want to wake up for Fajr. Please make it easy for me. Make that dua. Read your dua, Alhamdulillah, no, that's a way. Allahumma bismika amutu wahya, and sleep on your right side. Inshallah, you'll easily wake up. All right. So make sure everybody sleeps on time. If you got to wake up 6 a.m., 8 hours of sleep is good. So go sleep at 10, 10:30 latest, inshallah. It'll be very easy for everybody to wake up for Fajr tomorrow. So I want everybody in the chat to say that I'm up. And if you guys want, take a picture of your janamaz, whatever, and send it in the chat, inshallah. So everybody's going to do that, inshallah, right? I'm going to do it, inshallah. Brother
Yes, inshallah.
Yeah. Inshallah. And inshallah, Sister Tahsina, Brother Noor, Zainab, inshallah, Saad, Kiana, inshallah, all of us, inshallah, are going to do it, all right? I'm going to do it as well, inshallah. Inshallah, we'll end with that. And I don't want to keep on prolonging, because I know everybody probably has some things to do, inshallah. Barakallah feek. I appreciate you guys taking out the time. And every week, inshallah, we're going to get better and better. If you guys have any questions throughout the week, go ahead and message me. I do stay very busy, so if I don't get back to you on time, please don't take it personally. It's just that I stay busy. But inshallah, I definitely will make the time to reply to everybody. But yeah, everybody, I'm going to put it in the chat as well. If I don't put it in the chat, man, you guys, make a punishment for me as well, inshallah. All right. All right, barakallah feek. I appreciate you guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Take care.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.